Hello people, it is ONLＹANS episode 3, continuing the tradition of jumping around completely at random. I thought today we could do green. I had to shower, finally, and I was like, I'm gonna put on something green and then talk about green. So I'm wearing a green shirt, whatever. I really just want to get back to drawing, but Greeeen Earth is a really, really cool color. It's been used since antiquity. I actually found this really, did a little bit of research for you guys this time. So this is pigment PG23. It's a naturally occurring inorganic pigment. Mineral. Let's call it a mineral. It's been used since like Roman times for wall painting, and I guess there are some caves in India that have Greeeen Earth in it. You see Verona Greeeen Earth on the market a lot, and I read on the Kramer Pigment website that a earthquake in Verona, Italy sealed up the mine where all the really good Verona Greeeen Earth was coming from, and so you shouldn't paint with Verona Greeeen Earth anymore because what they're mining from around there is of inferior quality. I don't know where Old Holland gets their Greeeen Earth from, but it's basically just greenish clay colored by iron oxides, aluminum, potassium, and magnesium. Apparently it's super light fast, not toxic at all, weak, transparent colorant, but of unusual hue, expensive and difficult to obtain, often imitated, which means look out for hues and not the real thing. The classic underpainting color for flesh tones in medieval egg temperas. So I think that's the reason I like this color so much. Is because I went through a phase where everything I was doing was green. Like I would tint the papers that I drew on green, and I would prime my canvases green before painting figures on them. So I'm actually going to include a really fun little, they call them a verdigris when you do like a grisaille but it's not gray. I think that's what it's called. I don't have all the terms. Anyway, so here's this really interesting little painting. And actually, I have to tell you, through the years, as oil paint gets older, that painting is like 5 years now. As oil paintings get older, the oil becomes more transparent, so the under layers are going to come through more. And I actually like the way that the thinner portions of this painting look now than they did when it was wet. So maybe something to think about. But it's really actually interesting how you do it too, because we know about chroma and lightness, right? So if I'm painting a red object, I always use red because for some reason red's really easy to think about. If I'm painting a red object, the lightmost facing part of it that isn't affected by highlight is going to be the most chromatic, not necessarily the lightest. The highlight will probably be a higher value. But when I'm painting a verdigris, because green is not black, I have to take into account the fact that in order for something to read like green form, I need to add less white to it to make it feel formiest. So I made a string of green and I think I used like a neutral raw umber to darken it in certain places. And then greenest where the form was facing the light the most, and then I would add white for highlights only. Came out really interesting. Was really hard to paint the grisaille, but painting color on top of it was fun. It also, because of the coolness of green, made me overstate a lot of the warmth. Okay, here's what I want to say. It made me feel like I was overstating all my warms because next to something cool, they were feeling warmer. But then when the whole thing was covered, within itself, they looked a little better. Maybe I was fooling my eye in a helpful way. I don't know. Here's a picture of the color pass. Keep in mind I was a second year GCA student. I had no business experimenting to that degree, but you know, I do what I want. So, good luck teaching me. So, yeah, the biggest drawback of this pigment is that it's sandy. Like, not all inorganic pigment molecules are the same size. They can only be ground to a certain fineness, and sometimes when they're ground beyond a fineness, they'll lose some of their color properties. So this is not ground all that fine, and when you mix it with other colors, it kind of feels like sand. It's the sandiest, so it just takes some getting used to. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, really, I said a lot. So, I don't know tomorrow, but I think I'm going to get into the chromium oxide greens because those are the only other greens that I have any real experience with. So, green is funny. I mean, as a like hue world, it's largely lakes and synthetic organics, and I don't know why the world isn't giving us more green stuff to paint with. This is pretty much it for your processed, natural, inorganic in the greens. Am I getting too nerdy? Find out. See you tomorrow.